The Lighthouse Keeper's Last. The Lighthouse Keeper's Last Letter. Part 1. The Light That Never Slept. The sea was quiet tonight. Not completely silent, of course. The ocean is never truly silent. Gentle waves rolled toward the rocky shore, touching the stones with a soft rhythm that had remained unchanged for generations. Above them, a pale silver moon rested peacefully in the sky, painting a long path of light across the calm water. Changed for generations. Above them, a pale silver moon rested peacefully in the sky, painting a long path of light across the calm water. Its walls had been shaped by countless storms, strong winds, and salty air. The paint had faded in places, yet the lighthouse remained proud, standing exactly where it had always stood, watching over the sea without asking for anything in return. Inside lived an elderly lighthouse keeper named Thomas. For more than 40 years, Thomas had climbed the narrow spiral staircase every evening before sunset. Step after step, without hurry. He knew every stone beneath his feet, every small creak of the wooden railing, every gentle whisper the sea carried through the windows. Tonight was no different. He carried a small lantern in one hand and a warm wool blanket over his shoulder. The air smelled of salt, old wood, and the faint scent of fresh tea waiting downstairs. When he reached the top, he carefully polished the great glass lens. It reflected the moonlight in tiny, sparkling patterns. Then, as darkness settled over the horizon, he lit the lighthouse. The great beam slowly began to turn, round and round, across the quiet sea, guiding invisible ships far beyond the darkness. Thomas smiled softly. "There you are," he whispered. It was almost as though he were greeting an old friend. Outside, hundreds of stars slowly appeared. Some seemed brighter than others. Some shimmered gently before disappearing behind slow-moving clouds. Thomas often wondered how many travelers looked up at these same stars while crossing the ocean. Perhaps someone was sailing home. Perhaps someone was beginning a new life. Perhaps someone simply needed to know that somewhere, on a quiet shore, a small light was waiting for them. That thought always brought him peace. Every evening followed the same gentle rhythm. Light the lamp. Watch the sea. Listen to the wind. Drink warm tea. Read a few pages from an old book. Then sit quietly beside the window until morning arrived. Many people imagined such a life would be lonely. Thomas never agreed. He believed silence was full of company. The waves spoke. The wind answered. The seabirds greeted the sunrise. Even the lighthouse itself seemed to breathe as the lantern turned above. Years earlier, there had been another voice in the lighthouse. A warm laugh. Soft footsteps. Someone who loved placing wildflowers in tiny glass jars beside the windows. Her name was Eleanor. She had lived there with Thomas for many wonderful years. Together they watched storms arrive and disappear. Together they counted shooting stars. Together they welcomed every sunrise with fresh bread, warm butter, and tea. Even after all these years, Thomas still placed 2 cups on the little wooden table each evening. One for himself, one for the memory that never truly left. It was not sadness anymore, only kindness, like remembering the warmth of the sun after summer has quietly passed. The clock downstairs chimed softly. 9 gentle notes drifted through the lighthouse. Thomas wrapped the blanket around his shoulders and sat beside the round window overlooking the endless sea. Far away, a tiny fishing boat floated peacefully beneath the moonlight. Its lantern looked like a little golden star, dancing upon the water. Thomas watched it disappear beyond the horizon. He hoped the sailors had calm winds. He hoped they would find safe harbors. Most of all, he hoped they knew that someone had been watching over them all night. A cool breeze entered through the open window. It carried the scent of pine trees growing along the cliffs. Somewhere nearby, an owl called once before everything became quiet again. Thomas closed his eyes. He listened, not to hear something, but simply to enjoy hearing everything. The sea, the wind, the turning light above, the gentle crackling of old wooden beams. Each sound belonged exactly where it was. Nothing needed to change. Nothing needed to hurry. The world felt perfectly peaceful. Little did Thomas know. Tomorrow morning, while cleaning a forgotten corner beneath the oldest staircase, he would discover something hidden for more than 30 years. A single weathered envelope, covered in dust, waiting patiently. And inside that envelope rested a letter. One that would gently carry him through memories, hope, forgiveness, and one final beautiful journey beside the sea. But tonight, there was